pregame show on Fox. Taco Bell, think outside the bun. We are in San Francisco, home of the hottest team in the game over the last 3 weeks. The Giants have won 18 of their last 23, and today they welcome a not-so-friendly foe to town. You're going to get to see one of the bright young stars in the game, Buster Posey. He had his 21-game hit streak snapped this week, but he's still clubbing .420 in July. And Matt Kemp loves Giants pitching. He is a .315 lifetime hitter against San Francisco. And with that, we welcome you to Fox Saturday Baseball, presented to you by Taco Bell. In just a few minutes, we're going to get you out to your game either in San Francisco, Boston, or Cincinnati. But first, the non-waiver trade deadline just came and went at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Those contending teams trying to improve themselves, including the Yankees, as Lance Berkman waived his no-trade clause. He's on the move from Houston for 2 minor leaguers and will be in the Yankees starting lineup tonight in Tampa. We had a 3-way trade between the Indians, Cardinals, and Padres. Cleveland moving starting pitcher Jake Westbrook to St. Louis. The Cards dealing outfielder Ryan Ludwig to the Padres. And the Indians getting a minor league pitcher. And the Dodgers were busy obtaining starting pitcher Ted Lilly and second baseman Ryan Theriot from the Cubs for second baseman Blake DeWitt and 2 minor leaguers. In fact, we have the trade deadline covered from coast to coast. We welcome in live from Boston, FoxSports.com senior writer Ken Rosenthal. Ken, in your opinion, the big winners are?
Chris, I will give you 3. Let's start with the Phillies. They get Roy Oswalt for $12 million for a year plus. Not bad. The Rangers, they're in bankruptcy, Chris, and yet they get Cliff Lee, Christian Guzman, and Jorge Cantu. And finally, what about the Padres? We all thought at the start of the season that they would be trading Adrian Gonzalez. Instead, they get Miguel Tejada and Ryan Ludwig.
Now, Ken, I was following on Twitter this morning, and you were the first to report that the Dodgers were kicking around the idea of sending Manny Ramirez to the Chicago White Sox. How close did that actually come to happening?
Chris, it didn't come close, and actually it was the White Sox idea. They went at the Dodgers, even though Manny is on the DL. But keep in mind, players can still be traded in August. Manny is certain to clear waivers. This might not be dead yet.
All right, Kenny, there's still a few last-minute deals still in the works. They still have to get rubber stamped by Major League Baseball. Who could still be on the move?
Well, for one thing, Chris, Kerry Wood to the Yankees, joining Lance Berkman and Austin Kearns. And another one we just learned, Octavio Dotel to the Dodgers.
All right, Ken Rosenthal, will continue to follow your tweets and also you on FoxSports.com. Thanks very much. We appreciate it. Now, there was one other last-second deal made by the San Francisco Giants. They pick up a lefty reliever, Javier Lopez, from the Pittsburgh Pirates for right-handed reliever Joe Martinez. So, obviously, we've got all the trade deadline news covered, but also a little baseball coming your way. Some will see the Dodgers and the Giants renew that rivalry. Others are off to Boston for the Tigers and the Red Sox, and most of you will see the Braves and the Reds. First pitch of your game, presented by Taco Bell, is next on Fox.
Yeah, Fox Sports welcomes you to AT&T Park. It's the second of a 3-game weekend series between longtime National League Western Division rivals, the second-place Giants and the third-place Dodgers. Good afternoon, everybody. We welcome you to Fox Saturday Baseball on Deadline Day. Kenny Albert along with Eric Karros. You just heard on our pregame show from Chris Rose and Ken Rosenthal. Dodgers acquiring Ted Lilly and Ryan Terrio from the Cubs. Octavio Dotel from the Pirates. More on that later, Eric, as we focus on the San Francisco Giants, who have had a tremendous month of July. 19 wins this month, led by rookie sensation Buster Posey and veteran Aubrey Huff.
Well, Aubrey Huff has really come alive. I mean, this month, 8 home runs, hit close to 400, and he's been doing it for 4 months. Great game last night. Offensively, had a few hits, double, big home run, and then defensively doing it in left field. Made a great play in right as well. When you talk about MVP candidates this year, he's got to be at the top of the list. Where the Giants are now, it's because of Aubrey Huff. And you talk about what Brian Sabian, maybe he hasn't done today. He could have signed the best free agent bargain in Aubrey Huff this season.
Giants only 2.5 out, 2.5 behind San Diego in the National League West. They won last night's game 6-5. Dodgers looking for revenge today. The pitching matchup, Barry Zito for the Giants and Chad Billingsley for the Dodgers. Giants and Dodgers next on Fox. For the record of 54-49. Their batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Scott Podsednik, his third game with the Dodgers, leads off, followed by shortstop Rafael Furcal. Matt Kemp hits third. Casey Blake in the cleanup spot. Then first baseman James Loney, catcher Russell Martin. Garrett Anderson in right field will bat seventh. Then second baseman Jamie Carroll and pitcher Chad Billingsley as the Dodgers get set to face 32-year-old left-hander Barry Zito for the fourth time this season. Zito started the year 5-0, 3-6 over his last 9 decisions, 8-6 overall with an earned run average of 3.49. Today's game brought to you by Budweiser, official beer of the first inning, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do. First pitch of the game from Zito to Podsednik. High and inside, ball one. Podsednik acquired earlier this week playing in his third game with the Dodgers. Dodgers have made 2 deals already today. As we alluded to in our open, one with the Chicago Cubs, the other with the Pittsburgh Pirates. In the most recent deal, Dodgers acquiring veteran relief pitcher Octavio Dotel from Pittsburgh for relief pitcher James McDonald and minor leaguer Andrew Lambeau, an outfielder who was born in Beverly Hills.
Well, I'll tell you, Dotel, you put him in that bullpen. He's had experience as a closer, as a setup guy.
Center field. One away. As Rafael Furcal steps to the plate, we check out the Giants in the field. From left to right of the outfield, Burrell, Torres, and Huff. Posey at first today. Sanchez at second. Renteria at short. Sandoval at third. The battery of Zito and Whiteside. So here's Rafael Furcal, who reached base 5 times last night. Broke out of an 0 for 23 slump in a big way. 3 for 3 for the home run. He walked twice. Furcal second in the National League, batting .321. And what a year he's had against the Giants. A .541 average this season, 20 hits and 37 at-bats against San Francisco.
Well, he does so many things for this Dodger offense, and they've been going through a rut where they haven't scored a lot of runs, and it's coincided with his struggles at the plate.
Zito missing low, now 2-1.
You know, last night they put up a few runs, and interesting, as you just mentioned, Furcal on base a number of times last night.
Furcal retired for the first time in this series as he flies out to the left fielder Pat Burrell. So 2 away. Our sprint player first, Matt Kemp, with a .447 career batting average against Barry Zito. 17 hits against Zito since 2007. 17 for 38.
Well, a lot of success against Zito, and it's just one of those cases where a hitter sometimes sees the pitcher well, picks up his delivery, and that's obviously what Matt Kemp has enjoyed since facing Zito.
Kemp takes strike 1. Kemp 1 for 5 last night, drove in a run. Leads the Dodgers in home runs with 17.
Zito's really thrown well. Hasn't got a lot to show for it as far as wins in his last couple of starts, but been very effective.
The 0-2 in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We mentioned the Dodgers' most recent trade with Pittsburgh. Earlier today, they acquired left-handed pitcher Ted Lilly, infielder Ryan Theriot, and cash from the Cubs in exchange for infielder Blake DeWitt and 2 minor leaguers. So general manager Ned Coletti pulling the trigger on 2 deals today, with the Dodgers 7 out in the National League West.
As he always does. Seems to be the hardest working GM as far as getting things done at the trading deadline, especially the last few years. Casey Blake, Manny Ramirez, Greg Maddux. It's a day no exception. I think really he's changed this ball club just in the last few days. Adding a guy like Theriot, who will be the second baseman. Got Pitsednik out in left field until Manny comes back. And then you strengthen that bullpen. You've got a 5th starter. And look, the core of this ball club is still the Matt Kemps, the Andre Ethiers, the James Loneys. How they go will determine the Dodgers' postseason hopes.
Kemp called out on strikes. Not happy about it. inning. Giants come in with a record of 59-45. They've won 18 of their last 23 games. The Giants batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Andres Torres leads off. He'll be followed by Freddie Sanchez. Aubrey Huff hits third. Buster Posey in the cleanup spot. Then left fielder Pat Burrell. Third baseman Pablo Sandoval. Shortstop Edgar Renteria. Catcher Eli Whiteside. Pitcher Barry Zito will bat ninth for the Giants as they face 26-year-old right-hander Chad Billingsley for the third time this season. Billingsley with a record of 9-5, a complete game shutout 2 starts ago against the Giants in Los Angeles, and he is pitching today, starting for the first time in his career on 3 days rest.
Well, and he went in and asked Joe Torre. He said, look, I want to be that guy that can take the ball on 3 days rest. The other consideration, John Eli down in Albuquerque. Chad Billingsley obviously convincing enough to get the start today.
Andres Torres leading off against Billingsley, and he takes a called strike, 0-1. Switch hitter batting from the left side against the right-hander Billingsley. Torres batting .286, 10 home runs, 7 of the 10 during this month of July, and a base hit into right center. Torres heading for second, and the throw is not in time. 33rd double of the season. He's second in the National League and on pace to set a franchise record.
Well, and what he's done for this ball club is bring a lot of energy. You know, you talk about him and his home runs, 7 home runs this month. Really driven the ball well, but what he does, he's got speed. He's aggressive. There aren't a lot of other players on this Giant ball club like him. And remember, he didn't start the season as the everyday outfield. Aaron Rowan was out there in center field. He got his opportunity and has run with it since.
So a leadoff double for Torres. Here's Freddie Sanchez, the Giants' second baseman. Aubrey Huff waiting on deck. From Billingsley, fouled off to the right side. 1-1 on Sanchez.
Well, and you can see by that swing that Sanchez has a plan. He's trying to shoot the ball to the right side to advance Torres to third. And watch. Lets the ball get deep on him. Throws his hands forward. Lets the bat head drag through the zone so he can get the angle where he can hit the ball to the right side.
1-2 on the former National League batting champion. Andres Torres, a leadoff double. Another deal has just come down. The Atlanta Braves acquiring Rick Ankiel and Kyle Farnsworth from the Kansas City Royals.
I like that move. Farnsworth going back to a place he had some great success in the 2005 season. Bolster that bullpen.
Fouled off to the left side. Count remains 1-2. Gregor Blanco heading to Kansas City from Atlanta. Rick Ankiel back in the National League. And the 1-2 hits Sanchez. So the Giants now have 2 on and nobody out.
That ball clearly gets away. 1-2 pitch. He's just trying to come inside. He had thrown 2 breaking balls away, had Sanchez leaning over the plate. He thought he could freeze him. Gets away, and now he's in a heap of trouble with runners on first and second.
So a big opportunity here in the first inning for Aubrey Huff. His sprint player firsts. Leads the Giants with 102 games played. Also leads the club in home runs, hits, runs batted in, and walks. And you heard Eric mention during our open, a legitimate MVP candidate in the National League.
Well, and you talk about the names. It's a Joey Votto, Adrian Gonzalez, a Pujols, and for me, Aubrey Huff.
On the ground to the right side. And the Dodgers able to turn 2. With Torres moving to third, a 3-6-1 double play.
Well, that's a great play to get it started. James Loney ranging and then makes a good throw to Furcal. But the best part of this play is Chad Billingsley hustling over to first base, getting himself set and receiving the strong throw from Furcal. A lot of times the pitchers don't get over there on time. They're trying to catch the ball and find the bag at the same time. Usually aren't able to do it. You see Billingsley gets over there, still a little flinching when he catches that ball, but a great job turning that double play.
So now Torres on third with 2 outs. And the rookie sensation Buster Posey swings at the first pitch and lines out to the shortstop for Call. So Billingsley works his way out of trouble in the bottom of the first. Taco Bell, think outside the bun. By Fusion, the 2010 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Get in and drive one. And by Sprint, the Now Network. Back in San Francisco, Kenny Albert, Eric Karros, and Chris Rose. Dodgers have made 2 deals today, firing Ted Lilly and Ryan Theriot from the Cubs in exchange for Blake DeWitt and 2 minor leaguers. And Octavio Dotel comes to the Dodgers from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dodgers retired an order in the first inning. Casey Blake leading off here in the second against Barry Zito. Takes strike 1. Blake 0 for his last 11. Batting just .246. He was 0 for 3 last night. He was hit by 2 pitches for the first time in his career. Blake behind in the count, 0-2.
See Tim Lincecum, nice job last night. Got off to a shaky start, but then righted himself and looked like the 2-time Cy Young Award winner that he is.
Won for the 11th time this season. Allowed only 2 runs in 7 innings. Dodgers would score 3 in the 9th to make it a 1-run game. Blake down on strike. Second strikeout for Zito. Eric, today's 4 keys to the game.
Well, Chad Billingsley is throwing on 3 days rest. Can he repeat what he did against the Giants in his 2 starts ago where he shut them out? They've got to keep the energy. They scored some runs in the 9th inning. First time they really looked like they were doing anything last night. They've got to continue that. It's still July for San Francisco. They've had a great month so far. They've got to finish it out. And where's Pablo? Pablo Sandoval a breakout season last year in his rookie year. 330, 25 home runs. He's been a shell of himself this season. There's Pablo. I mean, that guy right there could be the deadline deal acquisition. And what I mean by that is if he can start to hit like he did last year, then they don't need to make that move.
Loney sends one to deep center field. Torres is under it. 2 away. So James Loney is retired.
You know, you just look at those numbers, and did you expect the 330, the 25 home runs? No. But you also didn't expect a slugging percentage of under 400. You didn't expect the lack of production as far as driving in runs. You know, and there have been a number of reasons, whether it's personal reasons, whether it's people adjusting to him. But whatever it is, he's got 2 months to figure it out.
Russell Martin takes strike 1. Martin 2 for 4 with a run batted in last night. Oh, 2.
I'll tell you, Zito looks great so far early on, and he's working ahead of the hitters. Strike 1, strike 2, and when you're constantly behind as a hitter, it puts you on the defensive the entire at-bat.
Zito's been terrific against the Dodgers this season. Does not have a win in his 3 prior starts, but has allowed only 5 runs in 20 2/3 innings.
He's really just had some misfortune. I mean, in a number of his starts this year, he's thrown better. He should, technically have a better 1-loss record. He hasn't got support in some games. But what a turnaround this season has been for Barry Zito.
Started the season 5-0 for the first time in his career after 3 losing seasons here in San Francisco. He's won 141 career games, 6-6 lifetime against the Dodgers. Two to Martin, and he pops it up, shallow right. Coming on to make the catch is Huff, crossing in front of Torres. Another 1-2-3 inning for Barry Zito. Presented by Taco Bell is sponsored by Budweiser with full flavor and a crisp, clean finish. It's what we do. Bottom of the second inning here in San Francisco. Giants and Dodgers are scoreless as Pat Burrell steps in to lead off against Chad Billingsley. Giants had runners on first and second with nobody out in the first inning, but Aubrey Huff grounded into a double play, and then Buster Posey lined out to the shortstop for Call, stranding Torres on third.
It was a kiss of death. I hyped Aubrey Huff at the top of the show. I'm talking about him being the MVP candidate. Sorry about that, Aubrey.
It's still early. We've been talking about the Giants' success during this month of July. Record of 19-8. Lead the major league in runs this month. Giants have not won 20 games in a month since September of 2000. 3-0 to Burrell. In for a called strike. Now 3-1.
You know, when you look at the Giant ball club and try and find where are they weak or what area do they need strength.
Burrell sends this one down the line in left field into the corner, and it curves foul.
And I think the Giant ball club, if anything, it lacks the team speed. And that's something that when you run up against tough pitching, you can't expect to get 3-4 hits in a row. You're going to have to manufacture some things. And right now, Andres Torres is really the only guy that can do those sorts of things. And I don't know if I'd necessarily classify him as a base stealer. But other than that, I mean, this ball club would not want to face them in the playoffs with their pitching.
Burrell down on strikes. First strikeout for Billingsley. Well, pick a stat, pick a player, build your baseball hot streak. Correctly pick 10 straight and win a Fox Sports baseball cap. For the month of July, 27 is the most wins held by Moon Goon 56. Yes, that's Moon Goon 56. The person with the most wins every month gets $500 cash. Tomorrow starts a new month and a new prize. Get your streak started today at foxsports.com/fantasy. Moon Goon 56 must be a friend of Chris Rhodes.
Moon Goon, huh? Be interesting to hear that story, how he came up with that. Or she, we don't know, right?
That's right. Could be Ken Rosenthal. And we've been told that Ken is reporting that Adam Dunn will remain in Washington. Will not be traded. Dunn with 24 home runs for the Nationals this season. The 1-1 to Sandoval. And you were talking about what the Giants need from Pablo Sandoval over the next 2 months. He finished 7th in MVP voting last year.
Well, he really had a special year last season. And again, I don't think anybody expected him to do the same thing, but I think they hoped it'd be a lot closer.
So Carl fields the slow roller and throws out Sandoval for out number 2. So with 2 away, here's Edgar Renteria, 5-time All-Star, batting .287 for the Giants this season in 54 games. Missed some time earlier this year with the strained hamstring. Just 1 for 9 lifetime against Billingsley. Two outs, bottom of the second inning in San Francisco. On the ground to the second baseman, Carroll. And the Giants are retired in order in the second. We'll return after these messages from your local Fox station. Saturday baseball presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Top of the third inning with no score, as Garrett Anderson leads off for the Dodgers against Barry Zito. Nice play by the first baseman, Posey. So Buster Posey starting at first base for the 28th time. He started 24 games behind the plate, and when we chatted with Buster in the clubhouse earlier today, former longtime first baseman Eric Karros said to the youngster Buster Posey, "So you have a day off today at first, huh?"
Yeah, well, I don't think I said a day off at first base, but yeah, he jokingly said, "Yeah, I got a day off down there." But that's a nice play right there. That ball seemed to almost catch him. That just shows what kind of athleticism he has to be able to go out and play first base.
Jamie Carroll takes strike one, so Garrett Anderson grounding out to the first baseman Posey. In case you're wondering why Anderson is in the starting lineup today, regular right fielder for the Dodgers, Andre Ethier, not with the club, returned to Los Angeles with his wife expecting their second child any day, so we send our best wishes to the Ethier family.
And probably doesn't come back tomorrow. Dodgers play at home Monday.
Carroll pops it up to the right side into the glove of Sanchez, 2 away. Well, MLB is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer. Visit standuptocancer.org to learn how you can help in the fight against cancer. Chad Billingsley, 5 hits this season, 5 for 37. A career 125 batting average. Barry Zito has retired the first 8 Dodgers he has faced. Zito and Billingsley were matched up against one another just 10 days ago at Dodger Stadium. A game won by the Dodgers 2-0.
Well, and really, Casey Blake did all the damage for the Dodgers. Hit a home run and then drove in a run later in the game. It wasn't as if the Dodger offense exploded at all. Zito pitched a great game.
He walks Billingsley on 4 pitches, so the Dodgers have their first base runner. So Billingsley on at first. Here is Scott Podsednik, who flied out to the center field at Torres, leading off the game. Podsednik's a Dodger veteran. They've made 2 more deals since he was acquired earlier this week.
Well, I'll tell you about all the deals that the Dodgers have made. The message that is sent to the clubhouse as a result of these deals is, look, we're still in this thing. Management still believes that the Dodgers have an opportunity. The guys in the clubhouse, they still believe can win this thing or get to the postseason. So if you're one of the players, you're thinking, all right, well, at least they've got confidence in us and they're doing everything that they can do to put the right guys on this ball club. Now it's our job to go out and play well and to prove to management we were deserving of these trades.
Podsednik with seniority over 3 of his new Dodger teammates. Ted Lilly, Ryan Terrio, acquired from the Cubs today, and Octavio Dotel, who comes over from the Pittsburgh Pirates. 2-2.
And that's the one thing the Dodgers have looked flat. No energy, and that's one of the reasons for the acquisition of Podsednik. Energetic guy, and then you bring some more guys over just to try to get some life in this ball club so they can get going.
They've been held to 2 or fewer runs in 10 of their last 15 games following the All-Star break. Only 35 runs over those 15 games, although Joe Torre was happy with The Dodgers offensively last night, despite losing the game 6-5, he said they were fighting up there at the plate. We were really aggressive. We had some great at-bats.
Yeah, but that's what it's come to. You get excited that you almost tie the game. I mean, that just tells you how bad things have been.
2-2 to Podsednik, and he fouls it off to the left side, just behind the Giants dugout.
You know, and in contrast to the Dodgers offense, the Giants this month have finally started to put things together, and the offense is largely responsible for the success they've had. 31 home runs, 146 RBIs coming into today. I mean, they've absolutely exploded as compared to the previous 3 months.
Full count with 2 outs. Top of the third here in San Francisco. Billingsley, a 2-out walk, takes his lead off first. Billingsley goes, payoff pitch. Podsednik down on strikes. Third strikeout for Barry Zito. Middle of the third inning, still no score. Catcher steps in against Chad Billingsley, who is not allowed to run now in his last 17 innings, including that complete game shutout of the Giants 10 days ago. Did not allow a run in 6 innings in San Diego in his last start on Tuesday. Whiteside, Zito, and Torres for the Giants here in the bottom of the third inning. Trade deadline day in Major League Baseball. A number of moves, including 2 by the Dodgers. We'll check in with Chris Rose down on the field in just a moment. We spoke with Dodgers general manager Ned Colletti.
Ned, busy as usual. Again, as I've said in the past, Casey Blake, Manny Ramirez, Greg Maddux.
course, trades can still be made after today, but players involved must go through waivers.
Usually after today, you're not going to get some of your lesser named guys through waivers because people will claim them because of the salary and claim them to block other clubs from picking them up.
Whiteside, the second Giant who has been hit by a pitch today. So he heads down to first, and we head down to Chris Rose. Chris?
All right, guys. Well, earlier today on the pregame show, our own Ken Rosenthal from FoxSports.com reported that the White Sox had made an inquiry about the availability of Manny Ramirez. Well, I just got off a conference call with Dodgers GM Ned Coletti. He said he wouldn't specify that it was the White Sox that called, but he said a handful of teams were obviously interested in Manny and that he's not going anywhere, that this team was built with Manny Ramirez to play left field. They expect him back on the field in 7 to 10 days. And so it sounds like Manny Ramirez at Agent 99 is staying put, at least for now, guys.
All right, thanks, Chris. Manny on the disabled list for the third time this season. So according to Chris, Ned Coletti reporting that Manny is not going anywhere, despite the rumors this morning. As Zito lays down the punt. And for Barry Zito, that is his 12th sacrifice punt of the season.
Well, I think what's key in that report that Chris just gave us, teams called about Manny. It wasn't as if Ned Coletti was out there soliciting offers for Manny Ramirez. And there's a big difference. Anybody can call about somebody. It doesn't mean that they're available. And like Chris reported, I mean, this team, for all intents and purposes, is built around Manny. And if Manny doesn't come back and play well, then the Dodgers will be in trouble and be at home come October.
Chris, what else are you hearing?
Well, I'm just kind of curious. Ned Coletti has been famous the last few years for making those post-July 31st moves. I mean, last year he got Ronnie Belliard, Jim Thome in order to help him toward that playoff push. Eric, as you look at this team, where else do they have to get better? And can they over the next month?
Well, it just depends on the players that get through waivers. I think they've strengthened their bullpen right now. They've elongated their rotation with 5 quality starters. The bottom line is the guys that they have here, the Loneys, the Ethiers, the Kemps, Martin, those guys are going to have to flat out start hitting. That's the bottom line.
But wouldn't you agree that this team has totally taken on a different tone over the last week with the addition of Podsednik, Terrio? I mean, you're talking about a lot of stolen bases, a lot more athleticism, a lot of speed. I mean, it almost seems like this team has morphed over the last several days.
It has morphed, but the bottom line is the nucleus are those core young guys in Manny. I mean, not to take anything away from Podsednik or Terrio, but they're not leading anybody to the promised land. Ethier, we saw what he could do at the beginning of the year. Kemp has the ability. Manny, we've seen what he can do. Those guys that Ned Coletti has added, those are supplemental pieces. They're not core pieces.
We'll talk about the deals in the middle of the 4th inning with Dodgers manager Joe Torre. Get his thoughts on the newest acquisitions by the Dodgers. 2-2 to Torres. Carroll to Loney for out number 2. Whiteside moves to third.
Hey, guys, there is one other move. Ken Rosenthal is reporting that the Red Sox have picked up yet another catcher, Jared Saltalamacchia, coming over from Texas. We'll get details to you when that happens, but they're on like their 18th catcher this year.
Well, see, all of them have been hurt. I mean, Veritek, you're not sure when he's going to be back. And they hope soon, and obviously Victor Martinez.
The good news for the home equipment manager, he doesn't have to put Saltalamacchia's back name on the jersey.
Freddie Sanchez takes strike 1. So Saltalamacchia heading to Boston. Kerry Wood, now a member of the New York Yankees. Will Ullman is a Florida Marlin. Kyle Farnsworth and Rick Ankiel dealt to Atlanta. And the 2 trades consummated earlier today by the Dodgers. Dodgers acquiring Ted Lilly and Ryan Terrio from the Cubs. Tavio Dotel from the Pirates. 12 years ago today, the Dodgers traded minor leaguer Ted Lilly at the time to the Montreal Expos in a 6-player deal, with the Dodgers acquiring Mark Grudzielanek and Carlos Perez from the Expos. So Ted Lilly coming full circle. Lilly last pitch for the Cubs on Tuesday in Houston. He has a record of 3-8 this season at 18 starts, earned run average of 3.69.
Joe Torre mentioning earlier today that possibly Tuesday, depending on how Lilly feels, would be his first start. Kershaw getting the ball tomorrow, coming off his suspension.
Serving the 5th and final game today, following the incident in a game against the Giants a week and a half ago. Sanchez called out on strikes. So for the second time in 3 innings, Giants strand a runner on third. Way forward by Pepsi. When you choose Pepsi, you support the Pepsi Refresh Project. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball, specially formulated for men. Top of the 4th inning here in San Francisco. Furcal on the first pitch, off the glove of Zito. An infield hit for Furcal, the Dodgers' first base hit of this game. We spoke between innings with the San Francisco Giants' longtime pitching coach, Dave Righetti, and we asked Dave about Barry Zito's performance so far today.
Super. You know, he's great start to the ball game, obviously, and puts in a good chance to win.
Great pitching staff from top to bottom this year. Right now, a little thin in the left-handed department.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing to address that?
You know, I don't know. I think at the moment, maybe you know after you left the office.
I want to hear you say it, Rags. Come on.
I think we got Lopez from Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
So for Joe Martinez, who's a class kid, and we're sorry to miss him, but the Pirates are getting a hell of a young man. But we needed a left-hander pretty badly, obviously, and I think Brian did the best he could there to get us some help.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
All right, you guys.
Dave Righetti referring to General Manager Brian Sabian. The deal has not officially been announced, but we've heard the rumors up here in the press box. Javier Lopez, a left-handed relief pitcher, coming to San Francisco from Pittsburgh in exchange for right-hander Joe Martinez. The Giants coming into this game without a left-hander in their bullpen. In fact, they used Jonathan Sanchez last night, a starting pitcher, as Kemp fouls it off to the right side. Javier Lopez, 50 appearances for the Pirates this season. Earned run average under 3, 2.79. So it sounds like he will be the newest addition to the Giants bullpen.
And you heard me earlier singing the praises of Ned Colletti. What you have to remember is Ned Colletti worked under Brian Sabian and learned so much from Brian Sabian for many years here. Brian Sabian, one of the best general managers, always looking to make his ball club better, not afraid to pull deals. Like I said at the top of the show, probably the best free agent signing, at least as far as dollars for production this offseason, and signing Aubrey Huff to a one-year deal at a paltry. If you could say $3 million is paltry, but I'll tell you what, it's paltry for what Aubrey Huff is doing.
Think he'll be making a little bit more than that next year?
I'm guessing.
Dodgers now with a runner in scoring position for the first time. 18 steal, 4 for Call.
Well, Furcal gets a great jump, and with his speed, you're not going to be able to throw him out. His 18th stolen base on the season. But again, he does so many things offensively. Bats from either side, power and speed.
2-2 to Kemp, low and away.
And when I say power, I mean he's a threat to hit one out. I don't mean he's hitting 20 or 30 a year, but a very versatile player.
He has hit 8 so far this season. Full count with Furcal taking his lead off second. Nobody out, top of the 4th inning, as Kemp bounces it foul to the left side. So the Pittsburgh Pirates are in St. Louis. You think Octavio Dotel and Javier Lopez will fly here together? They were Pirate teammates up until this morning. One is now a Dodger, the other a Giant.
Well, I can tell you that one guy has got to get out here yesterday, and that's the left-handed reliever.
Giants without a lefty in the bullpen after they placed Jeremy Affeldt on the disabled list earlier this week. Affeldt on the right. So Javier Lopez apparently coming to San Francisco from Pittsburgh. Prior to this season, Lopez spent 4 years with the Boston Red Sox. Kemp draws a walk, so the Dodgers threatening here in the 4th inning with runners on first and second and nobody out. Javier Lopez this season for the Pirates. Joe Martinez heading to Pittsburgh.
Well, and very important in this Western Division to have the left-handed reliever. Gonzalez in San Diego, the first baseman. Dodgers with Ethier and Loney for call better from the left side. Got to have somebody to neutralize those guys.
Here's Casey Blake, struck out his first time up. Such an important acquisition by the Dodgers just prior to the trade deadline 2 years ago. Joe Torre spoke yesterday before the game about not only what Blake did on the field when first becoming a Dodger, but in the clubhouse and in the dugout as well.
Well, right now, though, you're looking for production. I mean, the bottom line is he just really hasn't had the type of season that they had hoped. And you could talk about him coming over and the production that he had when he was first acquired, but Manny Ramirez was also on his way over at the same time. And these are the types of situations where, a veteran presence should make a difference. You've got first and second right now. The Dodgers have struggled to put runs up on the board. This is where the approach has to be, shoot it to the right side. You've got a huge hole. Sanchez trying to hold on for call. At least get the runners over. But you've got to stay out of the double play. You see there's Sanchez over there. Got that hole wide open over there on the right side.
For call on second, Kemp the runner at first. 2 balls, 1 strike. And Zito steps off. Giants and Dodgers scoreless. Top of the 4th inning here in San Francisco. Giants won the series opener last night 6-5. Zito missing high and away. Now 3-1. James Loney looming in the on-deck circle.
Well, Zito, the first 2 innings, first 3, just working ahead of the hitters, ahead in the count. And all of a sudden, just can't seem to find the strike zone.
Full count.
Well, see, right there, that's where, as a hitter, you're 3-1. You're just sitting on a pitch. Now, if you're not sitting on a pitch that's right down the middle, then okay, you can take that. But I'm not sure what you are sitting on. It's not when you go up there and look at, I'm going to look for something on the outside corner. I mean, that thing is right there. And now you put yourself in a hole because Zito's the type of guy to throw an off-speed pitch right here and induce a double play.
With the runners on the move, Blake fouls it off down the right field line.
I see Joe Torre not waiting around, putting the runners in motion. Because the offense has struggled, the manager has to sometimes force things. Not normally are you going to, with nobody out, put the runners in motion and your number 4 hitter up.
Runners go, and Blake pops it up. The second baseman, Sanchez, is under it. 1 away. Time for a DirecTV game break as we send it down to the field. And Chris.
All right, guys. Jason Hayward won the game last night for the Braves with a 2-run double in extras. How about the arm here? Orlando Cabrera is not even close. Hayward has got it all. It is 2-0 Atlanta in the 4th. They're up 3.5 games on the field in the NL East. Remember to watch every baseball game in HD. It's 1-800-DIRECTV. How do you like that arm, EK?
I would have liked it better if it was at UCLA this year. He signed to go to UCLA. Would have been a junior there this year. It's all right in Atlanta, but it would have looked a lot better in the blue and gold.
He's not bitter, Chris.
No, that's okay. I mean, that's the way Karros operates. I get it.
All right, with 1 away, here's James Loney. Flight out to the center fielder, Torres. His first time up. Dodgers with 2 on, 1 out. Top of the 4th inning. For call at second. Kemp over at first. Loney with runners on base this season, batting .346. And he is the only major leaguer, Eric, with more than 60 runs batted in and fewer than 10 home runs.
Yeah, I've likened him to a Mark Grace. Remember Mark Grace, the great hitter of the 90s for the Chicago Cubs. Usually put the bat on the ball. Go the other way. Well, a lot of big hits. This just isn't a good matchup, though, for James Loney. Historically, has not had success against, coming into this at-bat. Or this ball game, I should say. Only 2 hits, I believe. 18 trips.
One-two from Zito, missing low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Last Saturday on Fox Saturday Baseball, Loney with the walk-off home run against the New York Mets in the bottom of the 13th inning at Dodger Stadium. Send Eric home in time for dinner. 2-2, throw down to third, and Burrell is out on the throw from Whiteside.
Well, Burrell gambling right there and thinking that he'll get another curveball. Instead, Zito throws a fastball to Loney. And because of that, doesn't really have a good opportunity to steal the base. I mean, this is where, as a base runner, you're anticipating a certain pitch. Zito had thrown a number of breaking balls to Loney. Burrell guessing another one would be on the way. Instead, a fastball in the outer half of the plate. Whiteside makes a great throw. Gets the speedy Burrell.
Kemp now at second. Payoff pitch to Loney. Sanchez to Posey. And the Dodgers are retired in the fourth. They had runners on first and second with nobody out and could not score. Joe Torre coming up. Bottom of the fourth inning in San Francisco in a scoreless game. Aubrey Huff leading off for the Giants. Grounded into a 3-6-1 double play back in the first inning.
Aubrey Huff, as we've mentioned, having a real nice season, and you'll get some argument about MVP with Joey Votto in Cincinnati, but you couple that with the fact that Aubrey Huff is playing in a ballpark that is not favorable to offense, and to see what he's done, compare that Joey Votto in a hitter's ballpark, playing in that Central Division II where you get to play at the Houston Astros, a small ballpark. The new Busch, a good place to hit. You really got to marvel at what Huff's done this year.
Shallow center field. Coming on to make the catch is Kemp. So Huff now 0 for 2. What a month of July it has been for Buster Posey. Let's take a look at some of the other High batting averages in 1 month by a catcher. Posey at .416 here in July. Joining the likes of Yogi Berra and Ted Simmons.
I mean, not coincidence that the Giants have taken off since his arrival as an everyday guy. He's handled things well offensively, but just as well defensively. Calls a great game, is really settled in with this pitching staff. You know, that's one of the big question marks when the trade was made. Benji Molina going to Texas. When, you know, look at this team is built around pitching. How are these pitchers going to react to Buster Posey? And reacted just fine.
42 hits during the month of July, 24 runs batted in. A 21-game hitting streak, which came to an end on Thursday. Posey lined out to the shortstop for Call, his first time up. Little bloop into shallow right center, and it drops in. Posey on his way to second. And he is in with a one-out double. So for Buster Posey, his 43rd hit this month.
You can see right there a record.
He had been tied with Jim Ray Hart, who had 42 hits as a Giants rookie back in July of '64.
Well, it's amazing how easy you can get acclimated to throwing to a new guy when he's hitting 400. All of a sudden he's putting down the right signals, and boy, he receives the ball well. See, Posey loads up. He's got his hands back and then just through the zone, keeps his head down. But again, anybody that can put up offensive numbers in this ballpark is really doing something.
Nice block by Martin. Now 1-1 on Burrell. Struck out his first time up. One out, bottom of the fourth inning. Dodgers and Giants are scoreless. Buster Posey with a one-out double takes his lead off second. Foul back to the screen, 1-2.
Pat Burrell coming over from the Tampa Bay Rays. He was released and came over and played a few games in the minors and has come up and done a nice job. Getting a little more playing time here.
Long run for the right fielder Anderson, and he makes the backhanded catch in foul territory.
Well, Anderson doing a nice job because as he runs over that pitcher's mound, he keeps his balance. It's a big hump over there, and I've seen a lot of guys as they go over that, they stumble, lose their balance, but Garrett Anderson very cognizant of it. Keeps his feet and able to make a nice catch.
Terrific catch by the 38-year-old Garrett Anderson, making only his 5th start the last 10 years in right field.
Well, what makes it terrific is that 38 you just dropped on there.
So with 2 away, Dodgers will intentionally walk Pablo Sandoval and pitch to Edgar Renteria.
Well, the right move. You give yourself a right against right. As Billingsley will go against Renteria. Well, Renteria in these situations, over the course of his career, has always been a tough out. Sandoval has struggled this year. Joe Torre liking this matchup.
So first and second for the Giants with 2 outs. Coming up during the next half inning, you'll hear from Dodgers skipper Joe Torre. We'll chat with Joe about the 2 trades. Dodgers acquiring Ted Lilly, Ryan Theriot from the Cubs, and Octavio Dotel from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Edgar Renteria grounded out to the second baseman Carroll back in the second inning. Renteria, right field. Anderson. And the Giants are retired. Giants now 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Joe Torre coming up. One hit for the Dodgers, no runs, 2 hits for the Giants as Russell Martin leads off against Barry Zito here in the top of the 5th inning. Martin flied out to the right fielder Huff his first time up. Martin, Anderson, and Carroll for the Dodgers here in the 5th. Well, the Giants have officially announced their deal with the Pirates, acquiring left-handed reliever Javier Lopez from Pittsburgh in exchange for right-hander Joe Martinez. Outfielder John Bowker also included in the deal. He was on the Giants opening day roster. And the Giants have also acquired right-handed pitcher Ramon Ramirez from the Red Sox in exchange for a minor leaguer. Ramirez has made 44 appearances out of the bullpen for Boston this season as Martin is called out on strikes. 4th strikeout for Barry Zito. We spoke moments ago with Dodgers skipper Joe Torre. Joe, first of all, your take on the 2 deals today and the 3 newest members of the Dodgers.
It happened late. I'll tell you, when you play a day game, it's really a hardship to try to get all this stuff done. The only advantage, you get a chance to talk to the players right away. And you know, I knew for a few days that we were certainly in the market for pitching, and we were able to get both the starter and the reliever, and Theriot certainly is an experienced offensive guy too.
So Lilly goes into that 4th, 5th spot, whatever it may be. Where do you see Dotel as far as in the bullpen, and is Terrio the everyday second baseman?
Well, I think we have to think about Ryan as playing on a regular basis. You know, we have Jamie Carroll. They seem to be interchangeable pieces. But as far as Lilly, I think what he does more than anything else, Eric, is the fact that he gives us some balance. 2 lefties, 3 righties. And you may be able to set yourself up with some clubs that are more vulnerable one way or the other. And I know just from having, actually I've had both Dotel and Lilly in New York. You know, Lilly is certainly a competitor. He goes after you, and not to say Dotel isn't, but you know, I think Teddy's going to give us a good personality.
Lilly and Dotel, both members of the New York Yankees during Joe Torre's regime in New York. And Ryan Terrio coming over along with Ted Lilly from the Cubs. Tavio Dotel traded from the Pirates to the Dodgers. Garrett Anderson, shallow left field. Shortstop Renteria makes the catch. 2 away. And the Dodgers today, following their 2 deals, and we mentioned Andre Ethier is back in Los Angeles, not with the club. So the Dodgers playing with a 21-man roster without Ethier, having traded both DeWitt and McDonald, and Clayton Kershaw, tomorrow's starter, serving the final game of his suspension.
Yeah, good deal. It's not a hand-to-hand combat today. Dodgers will be on the short end. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, for me, Terrio goes to second base, bats near the bottom of the lineup. Dotel slips into that middle of the game slot. You couple him with Quo and Broxton.
Carroll flies out to the center fielder Torres. Dodgers retired in order on 10 pitches by Barry Zito in the 5th. Still scoreless. If no score, Eli Whiteside leading off for the Giants against Chad Billingsley, who has now gone 19 innings, Eric, without having allowed a run. He has not allowed a home run in 59 innings since Chris Snyder took him deep back on May 31st. Snyder also traded today by the Diamondbacks to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Way to tie that together, Kenny. Man! Hey, Arizona unloading a number of guys. Edwin Jackson the other day, Chad Qualls, and of course Dan Herron a couple of weeks ago.
Pirates have been busy as well.
Is that kind of like when you go to the discount shopping store and you think you're going to get some deals, you call those clubs up? Is that what that is? Stay on the fence. Don't say anything. I'll say it.
So you're talking about, let's see, Pirates, the D-backs, who else?
Royals. Scott Podsednik coming. And Farnsworth and Keel
to Atlanta.
Just bring your shopping cart and go to town.
Don't forget about the Indians.
Right side down on strikes. Teams around the league are competing for a $200,000 Pepsi Refresh grant. Vote for your team's idea at PepsiRefresh.MLB.com. And we heard Chris mention the Indians. Chris, of course, as anyone who has tuned into Fox Saturday Baseball the last couple of years knows, is a Cleveland native.
Actually, a cool little nugget. And Kenny, you'll like this. Kerry Wood dealt from the Indians to the Yankees. The man who caught his first big league win in 2000 is now his manager.
Wow. Joe Girardi with the Cubs.
Karros, I get nothing from you on that.
Very good job, Chris. Zito grounds out to Furcal.
I didn't know we were playing Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah. So my bad. It wasn't 2000, but it was still his first win.
Yeah. It was close to 2000.
Yeah.
So you have the right catcher, but not the year.
So just take back anything I say. Don't ever believe anything that comes out of my mouth.
So your thoughts on Jake Westbrook, who is now a member of the St. Louis Cardinals, Chris?
I thought it was a great pickup for the Cardinals, don't you? I mean, they've had trouble after that third spot, after Wainwright, Carpenter, and Garcia all season. I mean, Penny, Loesch, both have been inconsistent and injured. And a guy like Westbrook can give them innings. And we've seen what's happened to guys once they leave the American League over the last few years. I'm not going to say he's going to be C.C. Sabathia or Cliff Lee or Roy Halladay, but he should help them. Don't you think?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I mean, you're talking about the change in leagues, and then you're also going to be coupled with one of the best pitching coaches in the game, Dave Duncan of the Cardinals, and we've seen what he's done for guys' careers.
So Westbrook going from Shelley Duncan, his teammate, to Shelley's father, Dave, in St. Louis.
Way to tie it together.
The only one left there, what, in Cleveland? Fausto Carmona.
That's about it.
Clearance sale there, huh?
What do you think about Ludwig going to the Padres?
I like what San Diego did there. It kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't see that coming at all. Ludwig, when healthy, been very productive the last few years. Just kind of lost that spot there. Jay and Rasmussen center and Holiday, but Padres are definitely saying they're players.
Fox will be back here in 2 weeks for the Padres and the Giants. Who do you make the favorite right now?
I've got to go with the Giants. They've struggled with the Padres all year long, but I think offensively they've hit their stride. I think they're a different ball club than what the Padres saw earlier. They'll be playing up here. The pitching has been outstanding for both ball clubs. I like the Giants in that series.
Giants just 1-7 against San Diego so far.
So you figure they're due. I mean, maybe they're not. Maybe the Padres just have their number. But what a year the Padres have had up to this point. Still, the toughest part of their year will be in September. They play 30 games in 31 days. And those games are against 26 of those 30 games are against contending teams. The Dodgers, the Giants, the Rockies, the Cardinals, the Reds. Their other 4 games against the Cubs. So the Padres, they've done a great job, but they will be severely tested in September.
Pitch out. Torres not going anywhere. Giants 14 games over the 500 mark, just 2.5 out in the National League West. Scoreless game today, bottom of the 5th inning. 1-0, and Sanchez pops it up. Left side of the infield. Burrell makes the catch. And that will do it for the Giants in the 5th. Still no score in San Francisco. By Verizon Wireless, introducing the Droid X, the next generation of duds. And by Chevrolet, every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty. Top of the 6th inning here in San Francisco with Chad Billingsley leading off against Barry Zito. Billingsley walked his first time up. He was the first base runner allowed by Zito, and now he singles into right field. Only the 2nd hit of the day for the Dodgers, and the first hit out of the infield. As we check in, once again, a DirecTV game break with Chris.
All right, guys, a pair of third-place teams going at it in Boston, and Miguel Cabrera off a dice K. His 26th of the year. He now has a Major League best 91 RBIs. Tigers lead at 4-zip in the 4th. Quick reminder to see every game in HD. It's 1-800-DIRECTV. And what a bounce-back year, and I guess really change of life for Miguel Cabrera, guys.
Well, it really has been. This guy, I remember, first with the Marlins, 2003, just made a real splash, and then had some off-field issues last year. Has changed things, and what a successful season he's had up to this point.
Tigers 6 out of the American League Central. Beat the Red Sox last night 6-5. So Billingsley on base for the 2nd time with Podsednik at the plate. He swings, line drive caught by Posey. Billingsley back over to first.
Well, a nice job by Billingsley in freezing right there. Posey making a nice backhanded stab. Made 2 nice plays over there at first base. Again, showing what a great athlete he is to be able to handle that position.
2 nice plays on an off day. You heard it too, Chris.
Actually, for once, I tuned Karros out. What was he saying?
Exactly.
Here's for Call. An infield hit off the glove of Zito. His last time up. Stole second and then was caught attempting to steal third. One out, top of the 6th inning. Zito missing away, 1-1. Two balls, one strike. Zito catching the outside corner, now 2-2. Billingsley with his 6th hit of the season. Takes his lead off first. 2-2 to Furcal. A called strike 3. 5th strikeout for Barry Zito. Well, do you ever wish more people would go to bat for you and the things you care about? Log on to statefarm.com/go-to-bat and let State Farm help you go to bat for your charity of choice.
Barry Zito going on the outside part of the plate. A great pitcher's pitch. As a hitter, there's nothing you can really do with that. Maybe foul it off, but more so just hoping the umpire misses the pitch.
So for Call, after reaching base 5 times last night, is 1 for 3 today. Matt Kemp at the plate. Called out on strikes in the 1st inning, walked in the 4th. I mentioned earlier his success against Zito. Batting over 400 now, 17 for 39.
I think he's real important for the Dodgers the rest of this way. I mean, he's shown just flashes of absolute brilliance, and then there have been a period of times where you wonder if, he's thinking about something else besides baseball. And if he can ever, take every at-bat like it's his last and play every play in the field like it's his last, a special, special player.
Deep left center. Runner will stay in the ballpark. Catch is made by Torres on the warning track. And the Dodgers are retired in the 6th. here in the 6th. He said last night's game was the biggest atmosphere he has ever played in. He's never played in the postseason. And you take a look at the active players who have taken part of the most career regular season games without making the playoffs. Huff is 4th on the list.
Well, you talk about the teams that he played for. You know, Tampa Bay before they became a player in the East, and Baltimore, and he was with Detroit for a bit. But you know, really, as he mentioned, playing meaningless games. You know, his entire career, and now he's in a situation where games mean something. You're on national television. People are interested in what you're doing, and you're having success in a big part of the reason the team is having success.
Came close last year with the Tigers. They just missed. Off 0 for 2 today. You know, the top 2 guys on that list have a great chance this year. Randy Wynn with the first place Cardinals, and Michael Young, a member of the first place Texas Rangers.
I think Michael Young with the Rangers, he's set. I think they go to the postseason unless there's some sort of miraculous collapse.
Texas has the biggest lead of any first place club in baseball. 8-game lead on the Angels. 3-1 to Huff, and he pops it up. Shortstop for Call makes the catch. Huff now 0 for 3. Huff talked about the atmosphere last night. All 3 games this weekend sold out. Of course, this rivalry dates back to the East Coast. Joe Torre talked about that before last night's game. Growing up in Brooklyn, he was actually a New York Giants fan and rooted against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Buster Posey takes ball 1. Posey doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 2.
Well, you talk about the rivalry, and I was asked a question the other day about the rivalry. And, you know, when you get to the big leagues, you know, what do you just hate the Giants? And I said, you know, what's funny is in the minor leagues it starts. I remember, you know, being a youngster in the Dodger organization in rookie ball, and shoot, we had 2 brawls that year, and they were both with the Giants ball club. And it was something that when you came into the system, Johnny Padres, Don Drysdale, Sandy Koufax, Roy Campanella, and these are guys that, you know, played in the Brooklyn days and the Dodgers when they moved to LA, and, you know, some of the most memorable games. And they'd instill that in you. It starts well before you get to the big leagues.
So during those 2 fights in the minors, EK, what was your role? Peacemaker? Were you the guy that was...
Believe it or not, one of them, I charged them out. I'd been knocked down twice, and the third time went out there, and that's when I realized that...
Posey lines out to the right fielder, Anderson.
If you're the guy that charges the mound, you better get your 1 lick in and get out, because if you're trying to stay around for anything, you'd be at the bottom of that pile.
Did you fire the helmet?
No, I kept the helmet on, thank goodness. That was the smartest thing I did.
Yeah, you don't want to mess up the hair even back then.
No, you're at the bottom of that pile. You get feet coming on you. That's a greater appreciation for guys in the NFL when you're at the bottom of that pile and everybody on top of you. Tough to breathe.
You remember who the pitcher was?
I don't. It was well... No, I don't.
Go for it. I know where you're going.
Not going to do it.
Go ahead.
Did he make the big leagues?
It was a right-hander.
Did he make the big leagues?
It was a right-hander.
0-2 on Burrell. Pat Burrell 0 for 2 today.
You can tweet us your suggestions on who you think it might have been.
Tune into my Twitter account. Well, Billingsley doing a nice job today, you know, coming out on 3 days rest. You know, and it's funny because a few years ago there were questions about his fortitude. And I think this year, you know, he's really answered that. I mean, he's stepped up. He's been the guy to be that number 2 or number 3 guy. He's got number 1 stuff, but he's really matured.
A 1-2 to Burrell. Billingsley missing high and away. Now 2-2. Burrell strikes out for the second time. Scoreless through 6. We'll return after these messages from your local Fox station. Through 6 innings, both starting pitchers, Billingsley and Zito, have allowed only 2 hits apiece through 6. And both the Dodgers and Giants involved in 2 deals today. As Casey Blake steps in to lead off for the Dodgers here in the 7th. Blake is 0 for 2. Dodgers acquiring Ted Lilly and Ryan Theriot from the Cubs in exchange for Blake DeWitt and 2 minor leaguers. Dodgers also acquired veteran relief pitcher Octavio Dotel from the Pirates as Blake sends this one to deep left field. Burrell back, and he watched it go. Home run, Casey Blake. His 11th of the season. The Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Well, this is reminiscent of the game the Dodgers played last week against the Giants, where they faced Billingsley versus Zito. Casey Blake hit a home run against Barry Zito. A solo shot a week and a half ago. Here he gets a fastball up and drives it out to left field.
Blake had been 0 for his last 13. It's his 11th home run of the season. 3rd time he has taken Zito deep in his career. So the Dodgers break through with the first run of this game. That home run back on July 21st was the last hit by Blake, so his last 2 home runs have both come off Zito.
See Matt Kemp loosening him up there.
Loney, center field, Torres. One away. Giants acquired a couple of relief pitchers today. Left-hander Javier Lopez from the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for Joe Martinez and John Bowker. And Ramon Ramirez coming over from the Red Sox. Ramirez 0-3 in 44 relief appearances for Boston this year. And the key to that Lopez acquisition, as we talked about earlier, Giants did not have a left-hander in their bullpen.
Affelt on the DL. Runzler still a number of days before he's expected back. But interesting, both of these teams going after pitching, bolstering their staffs, especially the Giants, where you look at them and you just say, wow, I mean, they've got a ton of pitching.
By the way, Casey Blake, in between the 2 home runs off Zito, no extra base hits in 8 games.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting that you just can't go through that kind of stretch. You know, if you're the Dodgers right now, you need people. You don't need somebody to carry you, but you've got to contribute.
Buster Posey says, look what I found. Martin fouls out. Now 2 away.
Like I said, thank goodness he's an athlete over there. That's a nice catch. In the sun, having to shade his eyes. See, doing a nice job. He's without the sunglasses, so you can't use that as an excuse. He uses his glove to shade the sun and makes a nice grab.
Former shortstop in college.
That's why he can play first. You just said it right there. Former shortstop.
Also pitched at Florida State. Golden Spikes Award winner 2 years ago. Top player in all of college baseball. Doing his thing at first base today for the San Francisco Giants.
We see the Dodgers out to that 1-0 lead. It's interesting, just a note from the man to the left here, Marty Aronoff. You know, the last 5 wins the Dodgers have had, 2-0, 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, and then the 3-2 last week that we did, the 13-inning game.
And those are their only 5 wins since the All-Star break.
It's pretty economical, though, if you've got 5 wins and you've scored a total of 10 runs.
So they have not won a 9-inning game since the All-Star break in which they have given up a run. 4 shutout wins.
You know, and that just, you know, taxes your starters. And not only physically, but mentally, because every pitch is a grind. Feel like you can't make a mistake. Garrett Anderson didn't like that. Yeah, it looks like he held up, but not going to get the benefit of the doubt when you're hitting under 200.
Now he strikes out, but the Dodgers take the lead on Blake's 11th home run of the season. 7th inning stretch time in San Fran. for men, for mustache and beard. Keep your edge. By Amway Global, where positivity powers our people, products, and businesses. And by State Farm, with 17,000 agents, we've got the best lineup in the game. On the first pitch here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Pablo Sandoval grounds out to the second baseman Jamie Carroll for out number 1. Man to the left in the Giants radio booth, the Hall of Fame broadcaster John Miller, along with his colleagues Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper. John, the winner of this year's 2010 Ford C. Frick Award, inducted last Sunday up in Cooperstown. So our congratulations to one of the best in the business.
How about him starting his career just across the bay, 1974 with the Oakland A's, working for Mr. Charles Finley. Charlie O.
Low throw, and it gets away from Loney. So the Giants have a 1-out base runner.
Just doesn't have his feet set, tries to rely on the strength of his arm. James Loney trying to hold the bag and make the pick at the same time. See, that's the only drawback of having a very strong arm, is sometimes you tend to rely on it too much. He doesn't get his feet set. But Renteria unable to advance to second base.
14th error committed by Furcal this season, as Whiteside fouls off the first pitch from Billingsley, 0-1. Billingsley has now gone 21 innings without having allowed a run. Nate Shearholtz has come out into the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Barry Zito.
There's Barry Zito again. Not getting any kind of support, throwing the heck out of the ball game. You think he's asking, regardless, I'm out, I'm done. Never wants to come out. He's frustrated, and Boach talking to him right there. But again, he's thrown great as of late.
Zito allowed only 3 hits over 7 innings today. But the final hit he allowed left the ballpark. Casey Blake with a home run to left field, giving the Dodgers a 1-0 lead. And now Whiteside is down on strikes. 5th strikeout for Billingsley. Well, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Red Sox will take on the Yankees in the Bronx. Some of you will see the Texas Rangers and the Oakland A's. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Sprint. Next week at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. Check local listings for the game in your area. And 2 weeks from today, it will be the Giants and the Padres on Fox. Joe Torre out to the mound, with the Dodgers leading 1-0. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th inning. And that will be all for Billingsley. for Chad Billingsley. Nate Shearholtz was announced as the pinch hitter. Joe Torre went to the mound, replacing Billingsley with Hong-Chi Kuo. And now Aaron Rowan will pinch hit for Shearholtz. Kuo, a member of the National League All-Star team earlier this month in Anaheim. Batters are 5 for 47 against Kuo this season with runners on base. Renteria on at first for the Giants with 2 outs, bottom of the 7th inning. Aaron Rowan 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter this season, 1-1.
Well, and if you're wondering why does Billingsley come out when Shearholtz goes to the plate, Shearholtz was 6 for 10 historically against Billingsley. The counter with Kuo. Coach comes up with Aaron Rowan. Kuo's just been magnificent for the Dodgers this year. Really solidified that late inning spot.
Rowan did not go around, says crew chief Joe West. 2-1.
Kuo proved mortal the other day in San Diego. Gave up his first hit to a left-hander. See Rowan right there. That looks like he goes there. Joe West didn't think so, and that's all that matters.
Base hit into center field past the diving Carroll. So Rowan with a pinch hit single. Giants have 2 on with 2 out.
Well, a great job by Aaron Rowan coming off the bench, having to face a guy like Kuo. You know, this is a guy that started the season as the everyday center fielder. It was off to a tremendous start. Then was hit in the face by Vicente Padilla on an errant pitch. But he's really handled his role in a professional way. That's a guy that signed a big deal to come to San Francisco. He's not out there every day. But when called upon, he's going to grind it and give you everything he has.
Runners on first and second for Torres, who is 1 for 2 with a walk. Renteria on at second, Rowan over at first. Kuo delivers, 0-1.
Well, Torres looked like he was going for number 8 this month. He absolutely let it fly there. That fastball up in the zone, high 90s.
Well, it's the final day of the month of July, so Torres wants one more shot at it.
Kuo's thrown 2 fastballs right by him. Try and elevate a fastball right here. And hope he goes out of the zone to try and catch up to it.
Two on, 2 out for the Giants. They trail the Dodgers 1-0. Dodgers scoring their run at the top of the 7th inning on a Casey Blake solo home run. Throw to third. Both runners safe.
That's good aggressiveness by the Giant ball club. Russell Martin a little lazy back there behind the plate. Renteria doing a great job of reading it, knowing that he's going to be safe. Now putting the Giants in a position with Rowan going to second where they can take the lead on a base hit.
Wild pitch charged to Kuo. Second and third, 2 outs. The 1-2 to Torres. He struck him out. So the Giants strand 2 in the 7th. It's still 1-0 Dodgers. Bell think outside the bun. Top of the 8th inning. Dodgers leading the Giants 1-0. 29-year-old right-hander Denny Bautista on in relief of Barry Zito. And the first pitch to Jamie Carroll, missing inside, ball 1. Bautista making his 30th appearance.
A big right-hander, a hard thrower. A lot of arms and legs as a hitter. You watch him, he got a lot of moving parts, doesn't have pinpoint control, so there's a bit of an uncertainty when you're in that batter's box.
One out to Carroll in for a called strike. Now 1-1. Jamie Carroll 0 for 2. Starting at second base today. Blake DeWitt made 76 starts at second base for the Dodgers this season. DeWitt now a member of the Chicago Cubs. You heard from Joe Torre earlier. He expects Carroll and Ryan Theriot to split time.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Carroll. You know, he's done a great job. There's no question about it. But the one negative thing, you know, he's played so many games. And if he's played so many games, that means, you know, there are a lot of guys that have been hurt or haven't produced. And, you know, you like to see Jamie Carroll play, you know, somewhere around 100 games maybe. And because of what's gone on this year, you know, he'll be well past that.
He started at 4 different positions for the Dodgers this season. 2-2 from Bautista. Carroll fouls it back. Joe Torre said Carroll's about as good a utility guy as I've ever had. A lot of times utility guys can play a lot of positions, but they don't really give you a lot of base stealing ability. Carroll 6 for 6 this year. Torre also said if you put video on him all the time, it would be great to show kids you want to play the game. This is the way to play the game. Talking about Jamie Carroll.
Yeah, and like I said, that's all great. It's just the point is the Dodgers are taking that video every single day. You know, your utility guy means a spot here, a spot there, and like I said, with with injuries, with lack of production, he's gotten a lot more playing time than I think the Dodgers would have hoped.
Now remember, the Dodgers playing with a short roster today. Quo has come out into the on-deck circle. Dodgers only have 3 position players available on their bench.
One of those being the extra catcher as well. So now you're down to 2 guys.
Popped up to the right side. Posey calling for it in foul territory. And Carroll is retired.
We'll take a look at Andres Torres. Runners on first and second, then second, third. Quo goes with the high fastball. Another fastball tells you that Torres is late. Then he tries to come in here with a little slider, gets away. Now runners are on second and third. He's got to go back to what got him those first 2 strikes. Goes with a high fastball, gets Torres to chase it out of the zone. Nice job by Hung-Chi Quo. In fact, such a nice job, they're going to let him hit here.
Yes, they are. No official at bats this season for Quo. Does have a sacrifice hit. 5 for 26 in his career, including a home run back in 2007.
Yeah, I was going to say he can run into one. Actually looks like he knows what he's doing.
Hit that home run against the Mets June 12, 2007. First home run in Major League history, hit by a player born in Taiwan. His batting helmet era was sent to the Hall of Fame. Not his bat, his batting helmet.
Well, I wonder if John Miller was able to stop by that display and see that the other day.
I heard it's very popular. And what does Quo do? Throws a 4-pitch walk. As we saw back in the 3rd inning, Billingsley was walked on 4 pitches by Zito.
Well, interesting, that spot today has been on base all 3 times. 2 walks and a base hit.
The other 8 spots in the lineup have also been on base 3 times combined. For Call with an infield hit. Kemp was walked in the 4th, and Blake a home run. The only 3 times positions 1 through 8 have reached base for the Dodgers today, but the pitcher's spot, 2 walks and a base hit.
Well, that's been the norm for this Dodger ball club. There's no offense.
It is the first career walk for Quo at the plate.
Maybe the Hall will ask for his batting gloves.
There's Podsednik, strike 1. Podsednik 0 for 3. Lined out to Posey his last time up. Quo the runner on first with the Dodgers leading by a run, top of the 8th inning. Rafael for Call waiting on deck. There's Casey Blake, who accounted for the only run of this game. Took Barry Zito deep in the top of the 7th inning. Casey Blake now with 4 home runs in his last 52 games. 3 of the 4 have come in games started by Zito and Billingsley, although only 2 of the 3 were hit off Zito.
Did he hit one off Billingsley?
Maybe in spring training in an intra-squad game.
Well, interesting here. Bautista You know, he can't find the plate. And on top of that, he's taking a lot of time in between pitches. If you're out there defensively, you're just sitting there going, come on, dude. I mean, Barry Zito was getting the ball, throwing it over. He ran into a bit of trouble, but it really, the defense gets flat-footed in a situation like this.
Second consecutive walk issued by Bautista. So the Dodgers with 2 on, 1 out, and a 1-0 lead. Is back and better than ever. New draft rooms, greater customization, faster live scoring, and still 100% free. Play today at foxsports.com/fantasy. Dodgers lead the Giants 1-0, top of the 8th inning. On a beautiful Saturday afternoon in San Francisco, only 3 hits for each team. Dodgers with runners on first and second following back-to-back walks issued by Denny Bautista. And now it's the former Dodger, the right-hander Guillermo Mota, pitching to Rafael Furcal, and he takes ball 1.
Yeah, Furcal's going to have to hit something in the gap to score a quote. He's not getting much of a lead at all, and then the secondary lead at second base is next to nothing. You see right there, only a few feet off, and then when the pitch is made, doesn't even move. Very important run out there at second base as well.
Matt Kemp on deck, then Casey Blake. 2 on, 1 out. 1-1 to Furcal, now 2-1. Pull the runner on second.
Literally.
Yes. Sednick at first. A little farther away from the bag than Quo is. And the 2-1 to Furcal. Now 2-2.
You know, and part of the problem when you've got a pitcher at second base, especially when he's not taking a big lead, then the middle infielders can hold their position. Doesn't open up any holes for the hitter. They're not even worried about the guy at second.
Furcal takes a call, strike 3. Now 2 away.
That's a second strike, 3 that Furcal has taken, and both pitches on the outer half of the plate. That one a bit further out than the last one, but again, home plate umpire Rob Drake has been consistent in calling that pitch on that side of the plate.
So 2 on, 2 out. Here is Matt Kemp. Kemp 0 for 2 with a walk against Zito. Ball 1.
Kenley Jansen, the youngster from Curacao, heading out to the bullpen for the Dodgers.
The former catcher, converted last season, and we saw him make his first big league appearance last Saturday. Pitched the 1-2-3 inning against the Mets, earned the save the next day. The 2-0 from Mota, foul back to the screen, out 2-1. Dodgers lead 1-0 on Casey Blake's 11th home run of the season. In the top of the 7th inning off Zito. Accounting for the only run of this game. Each team with only 3 base hits. 2-2.
Nice pitch by Mota. 2-1 going with the breaking ball in the outer part of the plate. Kemp's aggressiveness, and he makes up his mind beforehand. 2-1 pitch that he's going to swing, but you've got to go right back down there again if you're Mota.
Fouled off the mask of the catcher Whiteside.
Interesting, he went with a fastball there. Again, Kemp has shown that he will expand his zone on that pitch down and away, the breaking ball, as many hitters do.
Whiteside out for a chat with Mota.
One thing should be said right now. Throw it down and away. Breaking ball. If there's any other discussion other than that, really shouldn't be.
Mota does his job as he strikes out for Call and Kemp. Dodgers strand 2 in the 8th. Sanchez, Huff, and Posey due up for the Giants. crew. By New Gillette Odor Shield Anti-Perspirant. Help eliminate odor. Don't just cover it up. And by DirecTV. To get the best quality picture and sound for your flat screen, switch to DirecTV today. Back in San Francisco, Kenny Albert, Eric Karros, Chris Rose, Eddie Sanchez on the first pitch from Hang-Chi Ko here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Flies out to the right fielder, Garrett Anderson, on the warning track for out number 1. Time for another DirecTV game break. Once again, here is Chris Rose.
All right, guys, Reds and Braves tied at 2 in the 7th. Ryan Hannigan turns on one off of Jair Jurgens. That scores 2, but Melky Cabrera, emphasis on the E in Melky. I have no idea where that was going. Hannigan scored. That was like Little League.
How do you know where that was going?
No, I don't.
Yes, to Hayward. Hayward threw a guy out at the plate earlier in the game. He was going. It was the 8-9
right
2 cutoff.
So it was like back in Boston where Johnny Damon's throw was cut off by Manning. I mean, that was Melky Cabrera's got a great arm. I have no idea what happened there.
The Milkman did not deliver that time. To quote a baseball announcer over on the other coast. Sort of. Quiet day for Aubrey Huff. He is now 0 for 4. In case you join us late or have not been following Ken Rosenthal on Twitter, both the Dodgers and Giants made 2 deals today. As Buster Posey steps in, Buster is 1 for 3. And he takes the first pitch. In his side, I guess you could say. Heads down to first. Posey, the 3rd Giant who has been hit today. Sanchez and Whiteside were hit by pitches earlier.
Well, up and in. Trying to tie up Posey. Joe Torre out to the mound. Pitching change. 1-0 Dodgers.
Well, 3 Giants have been hit by pitches today, and warnings have been issued by the home plate umpire, Rob Drake.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous there. Joe West explaining to Joe Torre, no way are you trying to hit what could be the tying run in the 8th inning of a ball game and putting a guy on first. I mean, it just, and if you are trying to hit him, then you're a dummy. and it doesn't make any sense. You know, where the Dodgers are, they've got to win this ball game. You know, they can't afford to lose something, and if you're trying to hit somebody, which again I don't think they are, Rob Drake then issues a warning.
So Jonathan Broxton in to try and close out this 8th inning. Pat Burrell is 0 for 3, and of course, bad blood a week and a half ago after Tim Lincecum hit Matt Kemp, and then Clayton Kershaw hit Aaron Rowan. Kershaw subsequently suspended for 5 games. Joe Torre served a 1-game suspension. The 3 Giants have been hit today. 2-0 to Burrell, and Broxton misses inside, ball 3.
You know, and getting back to that, it's, you know, I think the players should take care of it. And the reason I say that, they know what they're doing. You hit one, you hit another. It's not out there. The umpires don't need to interpret when the right time to hit somebody or when somebody's trying to hit. It's half the time they're wrong.
Broxton catching the outside corner. Oh, you're absolutely right. There'll be no logical explanation why Cole would hit Posey on purpose in a 1-run game in the 8th inning.
No, they get an edict. Hey, watch this series. There may be some bad blood. And the minute, you know, that happens, they're going to issue a warning. Now, I understand they've got to make a judgment call, but you have to understand the situation and, you know, what's going on in the game. And
2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning. Posey the runner on first. Payoff pitch from Broxton. Posey goes, and Burrell drills it to deep left field. It is out of here. Home run number 6 for Pat Burrell, and the Giants in the bottom of the 8th inning take a 2-1 lead.
Outs and a 3-2 pitch. Pat Burrell, a dangerous hitter still with power. Broxton throws a fastball down the middle. 2-1 ball game.
Only the second home run allowed by Broxton in 44 appearances. Sandoval with a base hit into the right field corner. On his way to second. And he is out. On the throw by Garrett Anderson, tagged out for the final out of the inning. But the Giants take their first lead of the game as Pat the Bat. Pat Burrell goes deep. 2-1 San Francisco. We head to the 9th. For the Just for Men Keep Your Edge spotlight, Pat Burrell takes Jonathan Broxton deep. A 2-run home run at the bottom of the 8th inning, giving the Giants a 2-1 lead. So Pat Burrell gives the Giants the edge. You too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. So now it's Casey Blake leading off for the Dodgers in the top of the 9th inning against Guillermo Mota, with the Giants closer Brian Wilson unavailable for the 2nd straight day due to a back problem. Remember, the Giants led 6-2 heading into the 9th. Last night, Dodgers scored 3 in the top of the 9th to pull to within 1. Sergio Romo in the Giants' pen. Another 1-run game here today with the Giants leading on the Burrell homer 2-1. After Cole hit Posey with 2 outs. And then Posey scored ahead of Burrell on Burrell's home run.
See Aubrey Huff, he's fired up. His buddy from Miami, Pat Burrell, hitting the home run. Good night to be Pat Burrell. Probably go out to dinner, single guy. Night game tomorrow. Might be out for a little more than dinner. There's Pat.
You had a night like that in Chicago once, right?
I was married.
Big home run.
Kids.
Big home run for the Cubs.
Pat's a single guy, a little different.
Full count. James Loney waiting on deck. And Blake pops it up to the left side. Sandoval gives chase. But it lands in the 4th row. Pat Burrell started the season in Tampa. Burrell and Posey, both former Golden Spikes Award winners. Scored the Giants runs in the 8th. And now the Dodgers try to battle their way back, trailing by a run.
You don't need to be a hero here. All you're trying to do is get down to first base.
Blake pops it up. This one is playable. Catch is made by the shortstop, Renteria, 1 away.
Pat Burrell sitting on the 3-2, looking for the fastball. He's a guess hitter. He says, look, I know that fastball's coming. I'm letting it go, and hits a shot out of left field.
So with 1 out, here's James Loney. Loney is 0 for 3. Guillermo Mota came into the game with 1 out and 2 on. Dodgers threatening in the 8th inning. He struck out for Colin Kemp and has retired the leadoff man Blake here in the 9th. One run on only 3 hits for the Dodgers today. We talked about their futility at the plate since the All-Star break. They've been held to 0 or 1 run 5 times in 15 games. 2 or fewer runs, 10 of 15. Only 1 run, 3 base hits today. One of them an infield single. On the ground to the second baseman, Sanchez. And the Dodgers are down to their final out.
I'll tell you, the way the Giants have been playing this month, you know, the infusion with Posey every day, the pitching they have, you know, the cast of characters, they're one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous team in the National League right now.
A win today by the Giants will be their 20th of the month, something they have not done since September of 2000. A win today, and the Giants would also raise their record to 15 games above the 500 mark for the first time since 2004. The 0-1 to Russell Martin, and now the Dodgers down to their final strike.
Well, they go into this month on July 1st. The Giants are in 4th place. Today they're in 2nd with a Padre loss tonight. If the Giants hang on to win, a game and a half out.
The 0-2 from Mota. He strikes out Martin on 3 pitches. Mota retires all 5 Dodgers.